So as people, we have behaviors that we kind of go through and we cycle due through our traumas, things that we haven't healed, or maybe just things we haven't experienced to kind of give us that edge of experience and knowledge. So what I'm seeing right here, like with the sacrifice and the quicksand and anger and empathy, you really could kind of start from any point in those cards and put them in a cycle. Because say that you're an empathetic person. Sometimes being too empathetic can kind of set you up for not so much being taken advantage of by other people, but maybe not understanding your own limits. Because let's say we started from empathy. So when you have too much empathy, a lot of times, then you end up sacrificing yourself. Well-intended, but a lot of times it's not giving yourself enough credit or enough space to really feel your own emotions, because either through fear or conditioned responses, we tend to want to help that other person before we help ourselves, whether that be through things that have happened to you as a child, relationship patterns, personality patterns, or even, if you think about it, in society for decades, and I feel like we're finally getting out of that a little bit, it was kind of a given. It was the golden standard to kind of be, humble, but humble in a way where it was revered for you to think of yourself as small, and the people that would kind of push that narrative were the ones that would benefit if you were that way. So as a society, we're kind of thought, if I do the right things, if I do what I'm told, if I don't strive for greatness, I feel like we're kind of evolving out of that. So a lot of times when we do that, then there comes a place where you kind of feel stuck, where your motives, your desires, your needs are not being met. So that can result in anger, either from yourself or from the people in our surroundings. We're not doing the things we need to do to fill our own cup, so it comes out in other behaviors. And then again, so if we are being angry, or if we're causing disruption in that way, then we kind of cycle back into empathy. Well, if I'm nicer about it, or if I'm good, or if I do better, do you know what I mean? That also comes with sacrifice. Sometimes can be the start in the way, like in the Hangman, which is actually Santa Claus in this deck. But that is kind of like, sometimes we need to give a little bit of sacrifice, not in a way that self-depreciates our own needs and our wants and our ability to kind of be a productive person for ourselves in society. Sometimes that can be in the way where, say, we do kind of have a better understanding of a situation, and it would be a good idea if you kind of step back a little bit, that kind of thing. But again, sometimes that results in you being stifled. Now, we don't have to be, cocky and make it all about over pridefulness. I am a firm believer in, if you do that inner work and you really have the right balance of self-confidence in yourself, in a way that you truly do work through all those things, you're not going to want to go out there and be better than somebody, or want to rise above somebody else in a vengeful way. I feel like good behavior that's seen as society as good behavior comes from a well-rounded person on the inside. And it's not easy to do because we're constantly being fed things in our peripheral, and things that like we consume on media and in our surroundings, the way we've been grown up for so long, the decades of the same type of narrative. So I feel like this is kind of like a societal thing. It can also be a personal thing. When I rolled the dice, I got a South Node in Libra in the 9th house. So what that would be, what that would look like. So your South Node, if you want to get into like your karma, things like that, South Node is supposed to be where you kind of mastered things in your past life. So as a Libra, that would be somebody who has really kind of understood relationships and connectivity, and understood the balance between give and take in that way. But sometimes wanting that even keel all the time, because a lot of times Libras are like that. They like everything to be happy, everything to be good. I I have a little bit of Libra in my charts, but sometimes I'm a little bit like that, where it's like you don't want to upset the apple cart. You don't want people to be upset. It bothers you if there's things going on and there's conflict. So sometimes that can be a negative thing where, you don't speak up where you need to, or just to make things happy, you might do that sacrifice, right? So you might kind of step back a little bit and not do what you need to do, but you're doing what you feel you have to do, right? Like the quicksand in that way too. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we're holding ourselves back. So another thing too with the ninth house is like higher learning or explorative type of consciousness and education, and you're questioning things, why. So perhaps in your past life, or maybe since this is in your ninth house, you're kind of trying to explore those areas. And when you look at your south node, the purpose of understanding all that is understanding where your north node is. So if your south node is in Libra, your north node would be in Aries, and Aries is more of a take charge type of personality. A healthy Aries is somebody who is strong and bold in themselves without compromising other people. So maybe this is something that kind of works in this. And it kind of is interesting if you think about it, like, Aries is really kind of like shifting into places right now astrologically. So maybe we're kind of being asked to kind of follow that a little bit. It's not about me, which I think a lot of times people think Aries is, which it really, as an Aries, I can say this. It's more like, I think we're misunderstood because there's a drive to be first, but it's not a selfish thing. It's more about being excited and expressing yourself, the need to express yourself in a big way. Because if you look at Aries Aries is the first sign. That's the beginning. It's like being a newborn baby. You're excited and everything's great, wonderful. So I feel like that kind of has an aspect where we kind of need to pull that in. So when we take the temperance cards, temperance is, again, that can be transmutation, that can be balancing. So again, Libra balancing as well. And we also have the Libra full moon card, which talks about there's a win-win situation. So it's obviously a sense of balance in a give and take, I feel. I mean, I'd be surprised if there wasn't like, if I pulled another card and it wasn't like the Six of Pentacles. But if you look at Ace of Cups, which is the Ace of Potions, that is, we're being given like a new opportunity creatively or, emotionally, spiritually. This is something where I feel like, if we can kind of balance everything, things will progressive in a collective way, but also in a personal way where we're able to accept ourselves for who we are and not compromise others in the process. I mean, imagine a world if we were all healthy people. What would we do then, right? But, and then you also have the King of Presents, which in this deck is the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles represents somebody who gives, but he gives in a way that's healthy. And I feel like that's kind of where this is all coming up in, is we're needing to learn how to give in a way that doesn't cause people to not strive for their better selves, but also doesn't leave anybody out. There's no catch. There's no like, okay, well, I'm going to give to you, but then you have to give to me later. So it's a big, huge balance in giving and receiving to me. And also you have the full moon in Cancer. The moon rules Cancer because it's a very emotional feeling. Cancer also rules a house of like family and mothership and maternity and things like that because it's a nurturing sign. And so an unhealed Cancer might feel less like that. So we kind of need to heal our mother wounds in a way. How do we give without taking too much? Or how do we give without giving too much? And how do we take without taking too much? It sounds like all my readings are like this, but I really feel like that's kind of where we are. And also have faith in your dreams with the void of course moon. I feel like that is also an aspect of, it's okay to dream. I feel like a lot of times generationally, huge generations going back, I feel like we were kind of stifled from believing that it was okay to do things that you were passionate about. And I feel like that's where the giving and taking comes in. It's you're contributing to society, but you're also getting something back. So whether this is about a project that you're doing, like I don't like to do love readings because I feel like sometimes it throws people down the wrong course. But I do feel like whether this be love, a situation in your career, a situation in a project you're working on, or whether it be your spirituality, there has to be a healthy balance in there. Understanding how to give to yourself and not feel guilty about it, and do it in a way that produces that healthy giving outward. And again, I honestly 100% feel that if you are really healing that self to a point to where confidence is just a knowing of yourself and a loving of yourself, then the actions you take and the things that you give out are from a loving way. If you're coming from a giving space and you're giving enough to yourself, you're not looking for that outside gratification. You're not looking for that outside validation. So there's no need to get something from somebody else to feel whole.